ETF, it's very much like an unit trust, but it's not a unit trust, right? Like this is an illustration of it. An ETF, it's like a stock whereby it's listed on an exchange where it could be traded, bought and sold during the market opening hours. But it's actually managed like a fund, like a unit trust. And what is similar to unit trust is that it's very diversified way to actually invest it. Okay, so it has the characteristics of a stock and also a unit trust together in one product. The good part of it is that it's low cost. It gives you instant diversification. For example, if you buy the S&P 500, the ETF that tracks the S&P 500, that's like indirectly owning that 500 companies that listed, the top 500 companies that's listed in the US stock market. It offers you the power of automation, and where also it's flexibility and transparency in the sense that it's flexible because it's traded like a stock. You can actually buy and sell anytime. And transparency is that because you can actually take up the prospectus and actually look at what are the holdings that's inside the ETF and also the percentage of it. And then on, of course, every product has the good and bad and part of it. And one thing to remember here is that ETF doesn't perform well in any markets, okay? So the common knowledge, I mean, the common thing that's being preached, right? People will say that just buy the ETF, right? Just for the average investor, just buy an ETF that tracks the market performance. But that is not always true, okay? If you have actually bought an ETF that tracks the KCLau, then you won't be doing quite well. Or if you've been buying the tracker index, the Hong Kong tracker fund, then you are not doing well. So there is a nuance to that on how to actually decide on this, and there's also some certain criteria to it, right? So on that part, we are just going to focus for today's topic on ETF in the US. If you are in the investment world, we read a lot, right? When we look at history, we have seen the graphs of that fear and greed index and all that, and we know this. But then I always wonder, right? If everybody knows this and this knowledge is available, why do people still behave so irrationally, right? Because knowing is one thing, like, but when you're put in that situation, right, acting is different. And when it comes to that point of acting, right, people always take irrational action. So if you don't have that strong conviction, investment thesis of why you're doing this, like for example, like what Casey and Ian does in the stock investment, they teach you the methodology of how to do it, and here the investment thesis, and also by if you don't have the RSP, so we will act irrationally, even though later on in hindsight we know that's not the best thing to do.